The most important thing, we never go out at night. Got it?
Hello and welcome to the final podcast, the last podcast you'll ever listen to.
Your final bros are here. It's Brian Hopper the Grasta and Shane the Black Ink that'll get us all, Smith.
Okay. We're starting off hot. We're at episode 201 if you didn't know.
201, and we're going to completely revamp the podcast in this episode moving forward. Just kidding. Nothing has really changed from the last episode that we did.
No.
Except that we're just entering the 200s.
Yeah.
And then that's it. And we're kicking it off with an A24 banger.
Yeah, I'm going to go out on a limb and say this one thing that is changing is we're only doing straight heaters.
It is true. I feel like the next few months, probably the next 2 months, is just straight heat. Gargantuan and unwavering heat.
I'm going to go on record and say the next 5 months is straight heat.
Okay, minus potentially May. We'll see.
May's got heat. May's got heat.
It's got yeet.
Oh.
It's got something.
Did you like Alexis Texas Chainsaw Massacre Month? Did you ever want a sequel? Because you're getting it, baby.
Oh, what a spoiler.
Man.
Yep.
And then April, we got a big themed month.
Big theme. We'll hold that.
We'll hold that.
Theme.
I'll even say this. We're going theme months for a while because June's hitting. We're hitting a theme. July, we're hitting a theme. So we're doing things a little different.
Yeah, last year we did like no themes. Year.
So we wanted to change it up.
We abandoned themes in 2023 to catch up on the great horror that came out in 2022. Now we feel like 2023 wasn't like a tremendous horror year.
It wasn't as good as 2022.
Not even close. It's going to give us time to get back to some of these oldie classics and get potentially some themes going.
Yes. But we're not doing an oldie this week. We're just going back a little bit, and we're doing It Comes at Night, the 2017 classic.
As you may know, Studios A24, known for the elevated horror genre, which is kind of fits into that mix. It's a very moody horror movie.
Yes. It's a lot of atmosphere and a lot of burning grandpas.
Yeah, because there definitely is a burning grandfather who is dead. Yeah. He's dead of the great pestilence.
He is. So I will say this about this movie. I can tell right away this is not going to be a movie for everyone.
Oh, no.
A lot of people are going to find this movie boring. A lot of people are going to hate this movie because it answers exactly no questions.
No question. It raises questions, answers none. That's the kind of like the trope.
But this movie is for you if you like a deep dive character study into how people react to other people when put in a very stressful situation.
Oh, for sure. It is a deeper movie. I would definitely suggest in saying if you like character studies, it definitely is one. Mm-hmm. It's like the order that this guy creates for his family in the midst of what you'd have to think is a world that has now been taken over by some kind of disease.
Yes.
Or a virus of some sort. It's very post-apocalyptic.
Yes.
So it has that element, but there's a lot more. And by a lot more, nothing is really shown and is really depicted through the characters' dialogue and their actions with one another.
Yeah.
And I think I like this movie because there's a lot going on outside as well as inside one's head.
Yeah.
Which is why I think it's very clever.
It's a very interesting movie.
They emphasize on this insidious red door.
Yeah, it literally is the red door, right? From Insidious, pretty much.
It reminds me of it. It's like it's a significant door. Yeah. There's a lot of meaning to the door.
This is the most important door, probably in cinema history, right?
Yeah, I mean they definitely highlight the door. You lock the door at night.
Yeah.
You don't go out at night. Nobody goes out at night. It's a rule.
Because it comes at night.
It comes at night, which is crazy because I feel like everything comes together when it actually arrives during the day.
Yeah.
And takes their dog.
It's wild. So, without further ado, for episode 201 and probably another 150 more to go, we're going to jump into the spooky pit. Let's do it. Let's get spooky.
It Comes at Night, released in 2017. As a mysterious sickness spreads, a man establishes a structured order of living with his wife and son and takes in another family in need of water and shelter. This film is directed by Trey Edward Schultz and it stars Joel Edgerton as Paul, Christopher Abbott as Will, Carmen Ejojo as Sarah, Riley Coe as Kim, and Kelvin Harrison as Travis.
Yes. So, paint the picture. You have a father, wife, and son living with a grandfather, and we open up with the great burning of the grandpa because he is contracted whatever this virus is, because you start to see the boils, the pus boils go on his body.
Kind of like the plague.
That's what it looks like.
It's kind of like plague-ish. I mean, this guy's got the big boils, and like you said, he's going to be getting involved in the great burning of 2017.
Yeah. It's real dark. They basically just put him in a wheelbarrow, put on their gas masks. They wheel him into a hole. They do the humane thing of put a pillow over his head and shoot him in the head before burning him.
This is father and son.
Yes, Travis and Paul.
Is this his son? They never mention it. You don't know.
I took it as this was like the grandfather is the mother's father, and they were like I took it as Travis was Paul's kid.
Okay. Yeah, I mean either way. I
Yeah.
mean, he's the father of this kid, but yeah. So they kill their grandfather. Paul puts a bullet in his head, and he makes sure Travis goes. Travis is a 17-year-old boy growing up in this world. I think he definitely is a little quiet, reserved, maybe a little socially awkward.
He has nightmares constantly.
Yeah.
Like bad nightmares.
Want to get to the nightmares. I think the nightmares are very interesting in this movie.
They're very important.
I think they are. I think this movie is definitely a telling piece of what I guess the mistrust you can have in other people.
Yeah, the emotional damage that a situation like this leaves a growing child, or
Yeah, and I think that also the subtlety of the horror, even like as we're like watching the movie, as we're talking, they're like slowly panning into this red door that's the only exit and entrance into their house, and you have to go through the collage corridor to get there.
Yeah, literally though.
It's just a bunch of pictures of the family.
Yeah, it's kind of it's actually very eerie, and this is a nice house.
It's a nice house,
but it is terrifying at the same time because all the windows are boarded up, all the doors are boarded up. They're making it look like no one lives there because apparently this is kind of like, I guess the best way to sum this up is like Walking Dead-esque, where they're more afraid almost sometimes of actual other people trying to raid them for like food and supplies than they are of whatever it is that comes at night.
Yeah, so it's like the post-apocalyptic style of like you have to worry about the virus, you have to worry about other people.
Yeah.
This is a more subtle approach because they're clearly in the middle of the woods. They're isolated, this family. They're away from everybody, and they're like living through a very, as in a post-apocalyptic, theme, they're following a set of rules that you can't, like the father definitely instills in the family to not jeopardize the health and safety and well-being of their family, like not to go out at night, to make sure that if you're going to go out, you go out with somebody else.
Mm-hmm. And they have specific rules of like, do your dishes, do your chores, all that stuff. It's very structured and regimented, but I think that's to ensure the survival of the family. All this is going to change when one night the dog starts barking at the red door.
This is the grandfather's dog. This was the inheritance he left them, was this dog.
That barks.
That barks a lot.
And you know a thing or two about barking dogs.
Yes, I do, sadly. I do know a thing or two.
Are you a fan of a barking dog?
No. No, very annoying. This dog also like goes after like nothingness. Like it's a very subtle thing it goes after. Mm-hmm. But so yeah, exactly. And it's late at night.
Yeah.
It comes at night. And what happens is they're hearing something, and I think in the middle of the night, I think does Paul wake up the family?
He does.
He goes, there's someone in the house, and basically Paul takes lead with a gun. They are all armed.
Yes.
And son and mother are behind him with the dog, with their guns. He's slowly approaching the door, that painted over red door.
Mm-hmm.
Symbolize all the badness that could come externally outside of that door, especially at night.
And the only thing that's behind that door is, I believe this is when they meet Will already, right?
Yeah, so there is going to be a man that broke into their house. Like I said, this is the only way in and the only way out. The room is covered in like that. After that door is it's like a plastic like area covered in like plastic.
It's a Dexter kill room.
It's like a porch.
Yeah,
like it's like a covered in porch, but yeah, it's just covered in plastic, so you hear noise and 100%. So there's a guy in there. He is armed. Paul gets the draw on him, and basically knocks him out, right?
Yes.
Just cold hawk him in
And
the
they
head.
keep him tied up to the tree outside, right, overnight?
Yeah, you got to keep him out in the tree, keep him out at night. He doesn't know if he's infected. He keeps asking him, like, are you infected? And then he asks him the rundown questions. Why are you here? What are you doing? How'd you break in?
Yeah.
Are you with anybody? If I go outside right now, am I going to get shot at? This man says literally just he wanted supplies. He didn't, they're very quiet. He didn't hear anything. So he thinks it's okay to just go in because he thinks it's abandoned.
Yeah.
And that he just needs supplies. He mentions for his family. He said he's staying with, I believe, his wife, his son, and brother, or his brother died and was holding them.
Yes. Well, yeah, he does say that's who passed away, and that's why they're looking for supplies and stuff like that. Paul is very hesitant in believing all of this.
Yeah.
Because he's worried it could be a larger group, could be more people, it could be a setup, it could be a honey dick.
It could be a big honey dicking, and you don't see that this movie does a really good job of explaining nothing to you.
Yes.
Like literally no backstory. And I really love that about this movie. Like, I think we always say less is more. This is like truly less is more. They don't give you anything about their backstory besides their grandfather dying.
And you also doesn't he say he traveled 40 miles on foot or something absurd?
50 miles.
It's 50 miles.
He said straight through the woods and didn't see anybody.
Yeah. So that's a far travel, and that almost in itself seems unrealistic.
Yeah, I wouldn't believe him, but yeah.
So Paul, though, against his better judgment, is going to buy in and travel with him.
So when he has him outside, he gives the man water and he's listening to a story. He's also doing it in a way of really being reserved and trying not to trust too much. But what he does kind of decipher is that this man has goats. He's got food.
Yes.
But he's in desperate need of water.
Right. Doesn't he also have chickens maybe or someone has chickens?
I think he has chickens.
Yeah.
He's got livestock, but he doesn't, and I guess that's the mutual benefit.
Is they could get those foods off of him and they could give him a place to live with his family.
Yeah. So, but essentially now it's just he can kill this guy, right? And then he has a family too. So even as tough as Paul is, I think there's a piece of empathy he has.
100%, because he's also has a family supposedly, but
so I think the idea is then he does bring this back to his wife.
Yes.
And the wife says, I think it's just a really good idea. If they just stay with us, we can both benefit.
Yeah.
And also, if they do have a larger group, they won't go out and communicate it if you stay with them the duration of the trip back for the 50 miles and bringing their family back.
True. So that's what they decide to do. And they set out. Paul drives. I think he keeps Will tied in the back of the...
He keeps him tied up he's got a pickup. So he's tied up in the flatbed, and he's driving with a giant rifle next to him.
Yes.
And this is going to be a seemingly easy trip. There's going to be no pitfalls whatsoever. Get there.
Until people start shooting through his windows and he crashes the truck into a tree.
Yeah, I actually think what happens is they get wrong turn where they
That's
go,
right.
They go over a speed trap.
Yes.
Or that.
That's right. That is.
I don't know if it's barbed wire or something, but it pops a tire and he goes right into a tree.
And then they start getting shot at by the people in the woods. But Paul is they always do this. It's I was a teacher or I was a mechanic. And then they become this just survivalist marksman.
Yeah.
And
he's a history teacher.
Yeah.
That's the only backstory you get of him.
Yeah. So he gets underneath his truck. He unloads and shoots the one guy in the woods. He gets out from under the truck. He sees Will is just laying into this other guy, just beating his face in. And then Paul comes up and Paul's going to shoot him and Will's about to stop him, but Paul doesn't care. He shoots him.
He just shoots him. And he's yeah, we could have held him up and
gotten
information from him. He's got more people, a group, supplies, but I don't think Paul was having it.
No. Paul actually starts questioning Will. He's like, did you know these people? Did you set me up?
He gave him the directions. Wouldn't he have encountered them?
Exactly.
Honestly, so that's the first mistrust for Will. He doesn't make it blatantly obvious, but he does question him. And there's other little I guess holes in Will's story,
which we'll get to later on when they're having the drinks,
the bro out. But
this is a little speed bump, but like I said, Paul takes care of it pretty quickly. And then they go back on the road, right? And they make it to the family.
They make it to the family, no other hitches. And what it does now is it actually doesn't show any interaction with him and the family.
No.
It cuts immediately back to Paul's family.
Yes.
As they're awaiting their arrival for Paul, Will, and Will's wife and kid. And that's their meetup. So they come and they meet up. And Paul introduces his family, Travis, and I think Sarah. What's her name? Is it Sarah? I could look it up.
Wait, who's Will's wife?
Yeah.
Will's wife is
Sarah.
Kim.
It's Sarah.
Oh, Paul's wife.
Yeah, Paul's wife is Sarah.
Paul's wife is Sarah. Will's wife is Kim. So
Kim and
Andrew is the little boy.
Andrew's the little boy. A boy that potentially astral projects. Just kidding. He just like walks around the house.
Yeah, so he has a sleepwalking maybe, or like
When they say he doesn't sleepwalk, but he definitely gets around.
he does.
He's an adventurous little one.
You know, this is why, and this is gonna sound mean, you can't have little kids in the post-apocalypse world.
They're just like
They're such a liability.
in so many ways. They're loud. They have constant needs and attention all the time. They crave it. And also, they just contract sickness so easily.
Yeah.
Their immune systems are just being built up, and they have none of it.
Yep. It's basically like having a bomb in your home and knowing one day it will explode, but just hoping for the best every day.
Got it.
Yeah, it's rough. And everything's going to seem like it's going fine for a while, actually. They're just going to have dinners. They're going to do chores. And yes, he's going to explain the rules to the family.
Makes it very clear that that red door is to be locked. We do not go out at night. We want to stay alive. We're not going to be doing any of that. It's the only door in and out of the house. One set of keys. He has the keys, or sometimes Sarah has the keys. And then he explains, we don't even go to, we have one bathroom. It's not in the house, which is really interesting. They have to walk to it. And they piss in buckets and shit in buckets at night or something?
Yeah, and they dump it and all that. Because obviously it's post-apocalypse. There's no running water. There's no electricity anymore. So it's just, you got your shit bucket and your piss bucket and you got to dump it.
The theory is like you kind of get right away, even like with the grandfather, like this must be like a highly contagious sickness.
Oh, yeah. Like, so this is the thing. And it's why they wear gas masks, I would say. Like, if you get into even slight contact with whatever the sickness is, you like contract it instantly.
You are mega compromised.
Yeah. And that's why they avoid going out at night. And I don't think it's the fear of it's the fear of not seeing what's near you that you could contract something from out there, right? That's almost what I took it as.
Yeah.
Is like
the whole idea of like it comes at night for me, like how I took it is just like the night is so like unknown.
Yes.
Of like what could happen, and it can come at you in different ways. Like for the kid, he's getting like these really fucking freakish nightmares. So it's interesting. Like the whole symbolism of the door is like the door keeps you away from the terror outside. Like you lock it, and the night, like I said, anything can come. You don't know what can come out there, but the door can only hold so much. The lock could potentially stay open for so long. The door could stay there, but how about the door to this guy's mind is completely open, right?
Yes.
He is getting all these crazy nightmares, and I think one of them is coming up. He gets the nightmare of his grandfather, Bud.
yes.
Where he's just got like that milky like blackness.
And it
that
like falls out of his mouth onto Travis, right?
Yeah, and I think it's super interesting that is what he like pictures or has seen of the virus is like this blackness, because like what's outside? Blackness, like darkness. So I think that the whole darkness thing, it's a concept for mistrust. Like how much can you let go? How much can you take in? You're taking in this family, and now like what could be perceived as the terror that is outside, you've now let in. That door is the only way in and out. I just think it's like a really cool conceptual movie of like what you're letting in and how much trust you're giving to people in this circumstance.
And what also is being let in is Travis in the walls, because he sneaks around the walls and watches the family and spies on them.
Yeah, so I think that's what's going to come now. So like it looks like they're all sleeping together in the room, right?
Yeah.
It's Kim, it's Will,
and
it's
Andrew,
and yeah, like Kim and Will get like a little like I guess like a little
frisky.
Yeah, they get a little foreplay there, and Travis is like hearing it because he could hear it from where he is with his like little lantern, his little lantern of light to I guess cover the darkness,
Yeah.
or to illuminate it. He starts laughing, I just think that like the playful humor or like the playfulness of like even like love is just like so foreign to him.
Right, because his father is so strict with everything, and this is like a completely different take on a family compared to his.
Different take on a family. It's also not stuff that he's probably grown up with because you have no context of how long they've been living with this.
Yeah,
probably for a long time.
It seems like it. I feel like he was young when it started, and that's why he's so with the nightmares and kind of like emotionally attached and stuff, detached from everything.
I truly think it's a win though for this movie to not go into detail.
It doesn't need it.
Like
it doesn't need
they
it.
They went to like flashbacks and shit. I'm so happy they didn't do that.
Yeah,
they kept it so simple and like I said, like use the word eerie. It is very like eerie. It's like moody. And the terror is more or less like the element of how much trust can you put into these people that seem on the level. Will and Paul become like friendly, like
yes.
very fast.
Even Travis has the one time where he can't sleep, and he has the conversation with Kim at night over like she's like, "Oh, you can't sleep either." And they have that like little one-on-one conversation where I was like, oh, they're getting close and like everyone's really starting to bond. I can't wait until this is all terrible.
Yeah, he definitely has a crush on her for
sure.
100%.
So that's why I felt like it was alluded to that he had a thing for Kim.
Yeah, he had a crush on her because I don't think he's 17-year-old kid, right? He
hasn't seen a woman.
And like he heard like them making love and he's probably feeling some type of way about that. he's like staring at her and like even the father has to interrupt them and be like, hey, like we can't trust these people. So they're just like, don't be creepy.
Yeah. Don't be weird.
Yeah.
The last thing you want to do is like try to sleep with this guy's wife while he's living in our home. But yeah, so it's just like building up all this tension and like this atmosphere and like the dreams. Doesn't he even have a dream of her?
Yeah, they're like
she like gets on top of him, but then she starts leaking the black onto him.
It's gross. Like she kisses him, and like the black just like falls into his face.
It's also like a big foreshadowing of what's to come for Travis. Where like all of his dreams end with him being infected.
Yeah, man. It's like that fear of the unknown.
Yeah,
like it's coming to him through dreams. Like he can't lock it away. It's just coming in, no matter what. You can lock the red door. It's coming in through your dreams. But I like the whole concept of it comes at night because in reality, in this movie, really only Will comes at night.
Right. Because now let's talk about the daytime where this is the big moment where the dog just starts sprinting at something and barking and sprinting and running. And Travis is going to run after him. And then Will and Paul are going to have to run and try to catch up to him. But they can never find the dog.
No.
The dog just disappears and it stops barking. And that's a bad sign.
Yeah, it stops barking because dogs, especially like this, they don't stop barking.
Yep.
And the logic that Paul has is like he knows the house, he'll come back. Travis, like, do not follow this dog.
Yeah.
So they let the dog go. Travis absolutely gets reprimanded, as he should.
Yep.
Being an undisciplined swine.
Yep.
Not listening to his father's orders, who's keeping them alive.
Yep.
But he is a kid, so they're going to go back to the house. One dog less than they left the house with.
Yes. So now they're on no dogs, which means the house will be a little quieter because there won't be that barking.
Yeah, thank goodness. Maybe they can record. Peace.
So now we're going to get into the absolute depression of this movie.
Yes. So like the dog leaving is actually like the big turning point of this movie.
Yes.
And by the way, this movie's like not long at all. It's like an hour and 32 minutes. And I blinked and it was almost over.
Yeah, that's the thing. This movie needed to be short, though.
Oh, yes. I agree. I could have been longer, but I think the impact is felt on how short
it is. Exactly. Because it's very bleak and depressing. Oh, a glimmer of hope. Bleak and depressing, and you kind of had to end it on that note. You couldn't prolong that.
Yeah, I agree. And like I said, they don't explore backstory, so you're just getting like raw in the moment feelings like from these people. And it's interesting because the families do like blend well.
They do. They get along very well.
They are like mingling well. It is good for them to see like what friendship looks like because they've been isolated for so long, and I guess the sickness has kept everybody away. But yeah, so they're going to like now start to experience some turmoil.
Yeah. So Travis is going to be doing his night walks and he's going to find Andrew in a different room by himself. Oh, Grandpa's bedroom.
Yes.
He finds Andrew in Grandpa's bedroom. So he's going to carry Andrew, from Grandpa's bedroom to the parents' room. He's going to sneakily put him in there, tuck him in. No one notices anything. While he's moving, he starts to hear the yelping, right, of the dog.
Yes.
And that's when he goes and checks, and the dog is just mangled and bloodied in the room. And he runs, and he gets his dad, and he gets his mom. And this is when it gets really sad.
Yeah. Yeah. So he gets everybody. Everybody gets out of bed because they use the same word, like somebody's in the house. Somebody's in the house. Paul will go to look at what happened. They see it's the dog. Like you said, it's a bloody mess beyond the door. The lock is open.
Yep.
The lock is open. So someone opened the door. Or someone broke in the house, but the dog is there, and they, obviously they got to kill the dog.
Yes.
So then there's the quiet, tense, like, okay, let's
How this happened.
recap.
Yep.
Let's refresh and recalibrate. What happened last night?
Travis goes step by step of finding Andrew, finding the dog, finding the door unlocked. And they're like, did you unlock that door? Did you unlock that? And he's like, no. And then that's when they start to realize, did Andrew unlock the door?
Yeah. And they bring it up. They're like, does Andrew sleepwalk?
Yeah.
And then Kim was like, no, he doesn't. But then they came in like, hey, like, why did Travis withhold the story? Like, why did you not mention that you went to go get Andrew first and then saw the door?
Yeah.
So now the families are kind of like
At ends with each other.
at ends. And I think that there's the two pieces, right? There's like the mistrust of like, we can't really trust these people. Even for them, like Kim and Will, they'd be like, I don't know like what they're trying to do. And the other people are like, they could let somebody else in. Like, we don't know. It could have been the kid.
Yeah.
But then there's the more important piece. And I think the piece that they're more scared about, at least Paul was, is like infection. Like, they can be infected. The dog was sick.
Yes.
Like, it came back sick.
And that's why if Andrew had touched the dog, he could have contracted the infection. And that's what they're so concerned about. So I love this part, right? So they do the interrogation with the family. They're like, no, he couldn't have done it. Like you said, yeah. Paul and his wife, Sarah, have a talk. And they're like, what do we do? And I always like this about this is Paul and his wife are never kind of at odds with each other.
No.
She's like, if we let them leave, they're going to know where we are. And they're going to bring people back if they can.
It's a risk.
And if we kick them out, they're going to ask for half of our stuff, and we can't do that to either. So she's like, there's really only one option.
Yeah, and then they're going to they're going to separate. They're going to go in their rooms, both of them, and wait it out for a few days to just see if anybody gets sick. And then they'll regroup. What I will say, during the investigation, I actually feel like Travis, although he delayed giving information, presented a pretty clear story of what happened.
I agree.
Andrew was absolutely all over the place.
Well, okay, so that's the thing. Andrew is 1, about 5, but 2, a liar.
Yeah.
He is a lying child.
1,000% opened that door. And even though they said he can't reach the latch, he opened the door.
Well, he does that kid thing. He's like, I can't remember. It's like, bullshit, you can't remember. It happened last night.
You actually never truly know who opens that door.
It was Andrew.
But they definitely theorize hardcore. Because they asked him, did you see Stanley last night? I can't remember. What kind of an answer is that?
Yeah.
I don't care how. You're 5. You should know if you've seen a fucking dog.
Yeah. Especially since it's not like they were waiting a week to interrogate. It was last night.
Yeah.
Like, kid, I need answers or we're going to have to kill you.
Yeah. Yeah, so it does get a little tense between the families. Not anything crazy, but I do think the idea of them separating and waiting it out for a couple of days is the right thing to do in case anybody's infected. The reality is Travis knows that if the dog is sick and if Andrew did open the door, he touched Andrew. That's why Paul interrogates him. He's like, did you touch Andrew? He goes, well, yeah. How the fuck did I know the door was open? I didn't know that until after I moved Andrew back to bed. So it's not Travis's fault at all.
Oh, it's not.
He just did a good thing.
Travis was literally, because like you said, Travis sees Andrew first. Travis has no reason to think that door has been opened, like you said. And so it sucks. So what's going to happen is eventually Travis is even going to rat out the family. It's like, I hear them talking about, I think Andrew's sick. So the dad gets on the gas mask. The mom gets on the gas mask. He says, stay back. I'll deal with it.
that was the thing, because he's got like that area where he can like hear in on them,
Yeah.
and he heard Andrew crying, and the tell was basically like, "Hey, shut up," or they're gonna hear and think he's like they're gonna hear him.
Yeah.
Was what they said. They didn't say he's sick, but they said they're gonna hear him because he's crying.
And it was obvious what, like, so they go in, but Will's ready for it. So Will already has a gun, and he points it at Paul. He's like, put your gun down. We just want to leave. I actually think if he says we just want to leave, Paul would have let them leave.
I know.
But then he says, and we want half your stuff. Paul was never going to give in to that demand.
He got extremely greedy. And I think like at that point in time when he asked for half, he's like, we're just going to take half their stuff. I think at that point, he's just like, I don't really care what happens to you from here on out.
Yeah.
Like, I think that was the switch. It's just like, now you're fucking with my family stuff after I let you in and we had a good thing going.
Yep.
You're just taking way too much. We could let you leave. It could all be over. But yeah, he was just like, at that point, he was not about him anymore.
No, 100% no. But, and that's why I love the wife in this. Like, so and I also love how they shoot this, because they shoot this where you never see Andrew's face. He's always in his mom's like chest, so you can't see if he's like sick or not.
Yeah.
But the mom is leading down the stairs. Paul's following, and Andrew, Will has a gun to Paul. The wife comes in with a shotgun and points it at Will, and she's like, "Put the gun down."
Yeah, and then so Will, obviously he does like this family.
No.
So like he's like, hey, like, all right, at the count of 3, we'll just like put our guns down. They both do at the count of 3, but Paul could not take the chance.
Yeah.
He's gonna like go for his gun, which kind of I don't.
I get it. No, I get it.
I get it also because like I feel like he can pull that trigger on a pistol way quicker than she could pull a rifle out.
100%.
And the accuracy would be better. Yep. So yeah, he goes for the gun, and now like Will and Kim have lost like all leverage, and their kid is sick. So.
Yes. So Kim and the kid start running out, right?
Yeah.
And then like Paul's chasing after them. Will's chasing. It's a big chase.
They cold cock Will on the floor.
Yeah.
And then remember like Sarah goes into the right by the red door and tells him to like wait in a corner.
Yes.
Yeah.
So Will doesn't wait though, because he catches up and he starts to. Well, what happens is first Paul takes a shot right at Kim, who's in the woods.
Yeah.
He doesn't hit Kim. He shoots Andrew, and she starts shouting, "You killed my baby! You killed my baby!"
Yeah.
Which is just really dark. Will catches up. Will starts beating him with a rock, like repeatedly over the face, right?
Yeah, like repeatedly. Like so, like Sarah has to shoot him.
Yeah. So Sarah shoots Will. Will, like concussed, bloody, broken nose, just gets up without hesitation, just shoots Kim.
Yeah.
Like, he doesn't hesitate. He just gets up to her and shoots her.
Yeah, he shoots both. He can't risk.
Not anymore.
He can't risk them leaving. That's why he kills Kim and the kid. Like, he can't risk them leaving and going back because they know where they are. Like, they have their husband. They're obviously going to kill the husband.
Which they do.
They couldn't risk it.
They shoot the husband. They burn the bodies. And then it's the big... If you thought this ending was bleak, it gets bleaker.
For
Travis is infected.
Yeah. So it's kind of like, oh yeah. So after they basically kill that family, they burn the. I think they burn the bodies.
They do. They burn the bodies.
All the bodies in this movie, and it's probably just in case like for the infection.
Yep.
And then Travis is. It's so sad. He's literally like covered in like these white boils.
Yeah.
Like he is sick. It is super sad. It's kind of like that weird reoccurring like nightmare he was getting. Even there's like a nightmare he got where he actually I think goes outside at one point.
Yep.
And, you know what I mean? And then like he gets like the inky blackness, and so he's sick. And I know there's like that one scene about with his mom, and there's the very last scene with Travis is he has like that lantern and just like walks outside, symbolizing that he's just like going to where the darkness and the going into the night and getting sick would take him. So he's a goner.
Yeah. And the very last shot is the shot it had been a reoccurring shot throughout most of the movie. It's them at the dinner table, except now it's Paul on one side, Sarah on one side, and the seat Travis sat in completely empty.
Yeah.
And that is It Comes at Night. Yeah. Is a very depressing, bleak, like worst of humanity movie, and I loved every second of it.
Yeah, man, it's so good. It's just like I said, it's that story of like, how much can you let someone in? Mm-hmm. How much can you grace? Like, can you give these people? How much of yourself can you give to other people beyond the sanctity of your like structured preservation that they've created? Like I said, I think there's a mental element, but there's also that component of just like extending your hand and helping a neighbor. And, you know, they tried, they tried and ultimately like it failed, and they did it in good faith. Cause they, like I said, they even had that like bro moment where they were like bonding. Although Will did share that, you know, oh, it wasn't my brother. It was the other brother. Yeah. Which I think is just subtle hints that like,
he could be lying.
They could be lying, but also that like this experiment is maybe not meant to work.
Right.
Based on like the current state of things.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So
heavy movie,
very
for sure.
So I loved everything. It's one of those movies where a movie like this is as good as the actors are going to be in it, and I think everyone, top to bottom, both sets of husbands, wives, kid, like everyone does a very good job.
Yeah,
and does a very good job of selling the atmosphere, and like it's just like it's also a very quiet movie. And I think that also really works for it because it really sets like how like there's nothing. It's just black and dark and depressing, and like I really enjoyed it. Like I said, I know it's not for everyone, but for me, I'm going to give this movie a very strong 8 out of 10.
Yeah. I don't know. The first watch, I gave this a 7. I feel like I just really enjoyed it more the second watch. It's absolutely an 8. It is so good. Like, absolutely phenomenal film.
Yeah.
Man, like, it's just, there's so much here, and the horror is very real, and at times, you know, it is, like, subtle, like, the element of distrust, but, like, as a bigger scope, like, what's going on, I think that it's quite terrifying.
Yeah, agreed.
Because it involves, like, human nature, and how much you could let in. And even, like, two good families in a situation like this just can't coexist, just based on the circumstances of how much you can share versus like the preservation of your family.
Agreed.
So it sucks because like they tried so hard to like make this work, not only for the sanctity of their family, but also like for that, I guess, companionship.
Yes, just so it's not just the three of them. Having some other people is like, it helps you get through things, and it's such a shame it couldn't work out.
Yeah, so when it says like it comes at night, like what did that mean to you? Like what does that?
I think it's almost the fear of the unknown.
I think it's just fear and like mistrust. Yeah. Fear and mistrust is just like
that's why they show, like, I think you put it best. That's why they show the reoccurring nightmares at night. Like the fear that sets in at night.
I was actually most impressed by his performance, the kid. Like I think
Travis was great.
The kid really like really sets the tone of this movie, and I feel like his character, it just really goes to show like not only the development of a teen during this time, but like the fact that like he's experiencing these really harsh nightmares, and like you said, like a potential foreshadowing. Because he's seen what happened to his grandfather. He got like that firsthand glance, and the reality setting in that this can very well happen to him. And as they let people into their house, like, you know, this is a danger that could potentially happen. But again, like you're sacrificing that for resources, supplies, with that post-apocalyptic element. I think all those things came together really well in an hour and 32-minute package that just felt very, very real and dark. And
I agree.
Loved it.
Yeah, it was great to like just everything coming together. I don't have many flaws with this movie.
No, it's a really good movie. Yep. A24 is not for everybody, right? They're the slow burn movies. Yep. They're all kind of the same. This one I would say is a little less on the artsy side of it.
I wouldn't say it's an artsy movie. No, it's a character study.
Because, you know, these A24 movies can be like a little artsy at times, but this is definitely, like you said, a character study. And I think it just like really shines, like their acting shines, and the atmosphere is just really, really on point with what the director was trying to get across with this like really eerie lifestyle. And it's like the quietness that, you know, you're trying to set order at the same time, like you're trying to also like potentially listen in on those other people and what they're saying, like Travis was doing, because then again, you really can't wholeheartedly trust the people that you let in. So
Great.
very, very intriguing movie. Lot to talk about, but
Yeah.
it's a good one. Definitely one that, HBO has a lot of these A24 movies.
They do.
And a lot of them are mostly hit. There are a few misses for sure, but this is definitely one of the better ones for sure.
It is a hit.
Oh,
And
show.
now it needs a representative in our Necronomicon.
So this is tough for me. It's easy to just say the dog, but I think like the shocking like killing of Andrew
Is good.
is the one for me. Like, I know the tone setter is definitely like the father dying of the sickness in the beginning, but I think either Travis or Andrew. Travis is like the impactful one, but I'm gonna go Andrew. Just him, like he was definitely trying to shoot the mother,
And he missed.
and shot.
To be
the
fair,
kid.
he was concussed and his eyes had blood in them.
Well, I would argue that Sarah waited way too long to pull the trigger.
100%. 100%. So I actually agree with Andrew, if I'm being honest. I think Andrew's the way to go for this one.
Cool.
So without further ado, Andrew, you were a young boy of 5, and if there's anything we know, that's very dangerous in an apocalypse. You can't have a young kid with you. I've been saying it for years. Zombie apocalypse is coming. You gotta leave the kids behind. It's gonna be hard, mothers and fathers, but if I want to survive, I don't want to have to babysit your 5-year-old because he's gonna open the door because there's a cute doggy. Oh, look at the doggy.
Oh, look at the doggy.
And it's gonna get us everyone infected and killed.
Always does.
Yeah.
Never a good thing.
So you know what? That's why you get to go play with the dogs from Signs in the Necronomicon.
Yeah.
And that's It Comes at Night. And man, oh man, do we have a big one next week.
Oh, Shane, just spit it out already. you
Okay,
cocksucker.
this has been one that has been the high priority queue for quite some time. We are doing the classic movie Ghost Ship.
A movie I've seen way too much. Way too much.
Yeah. Do you like Benanti? He's going to be on it. Ghost
that's
Ship
right, he is
Benanti? Come
He
on.
would fucking be on this, that piece of shit. He would be on Ghost Ship. I've seen this movie way too much, Shane. It's by the director of 13 Ghosts. They made it the same, like 1 year after the other.
13 Ghosts, great movie. Ghost Ship, great movie.
Okay.
We got to start
They're
double
the
featuring.
same movie. They feel the same.
They really do.
I guess I'm like, of course, you like these movies. I'm not crazy about them. They have the same director.
It all has come full circle. So with that said, we are the final podcast signing off, and we will see you next week in Gabriel Byrne's career low.
I mean, like he did bounce back from that.
He did. I mean, he did Hereditary.
Yeah, so he did do Hereditary in 2018. This is in 2002, so it was 16 years later. So yeah, I guess we're doing Ghost Ship.
We're doing Ghost Ship, everyone. Get excited.
I think you can find that on Amazon, but I think you gotta pay for it.
You do have to pay for it. The movie's so important, you still have to pay for it, right?
Yeah,
That's the lesson there.
Yeah, it's crazy. www.thefinalpodcast.com. Like, we have so many hitters coming up. You can't miss out on any of it.
Like I
You
said,
gotta
nothing but heat.
Yeah, so we got the YouTube channel. You can subscribe to that, or you can just catch it on Spotify and Apple Podcasts or Google Podcasts, wherever you listen to shit. Just find us. But the website, www.finalpodcast, is where we're at for everything. So we'll see you next week.